We live, baby. We live. Say hello.
Hey guys.
Hood. Is it hoodies and houses or houses and hoodies?
No, houses and hoodies.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been. What's okay?
Hi.
Okay.
We got a what do they call that in a creator crossover? Or we got a channel
A collab.
A collab. Yeah,
we collab.
We got a channel crossover.
We're in the studio. Hello. How you doing? Hello. How are you? So anyway, welcome guys. What we want to do is let's see here. We're going live. This is something we're gonna do at least twice a month.
Yeah.
And then depending on how it goes, we'll do it a little more often. But do you need to get in the frame some more? You good?
I can't. It's good over.
There you go.
Yeah.
But a casual in appearance, casual in conversation, but real facts, real seriousness when it comes to real estate.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna hit on some topics that should be beneficial to any of you that are out there looking to purchase a home. And we're going to do it in a way that we feel is going to be beneficial in a everyday man and woman way, right?
Yes.
From an old head to what we call it, y'all YNs? No, we ain't gonna call you YNs.
That's not me.
No, that's not a compliment. That's disrespectful to young up and coming professionals,
there we go.
Young men and women that everybody could use. So, where you want to start off at? Where you want to start? Ladies first.
We could give an update on what's just been going on in the market, the real estate market in general.
Gotcha.
Nationwide, and then as we all know, we do our good deeds in business here in San Antonio, so we'll bring it back on over to our market.
Gotcha. As far as you're concerned, as far as real estate.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I'm nationwide, baby.
Yeah.
You need money. We could get it.
We got it.
You feel me? So with that, let's go here. This past week, as far as the economic reports are concerned, jobs, for those of you that don't know, are very integral in helping determine what interest rates might be. And I think I heard a little kid the other day say Jerome Powell. Everybody knows Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, Federal Reserve, that their mandate is to get inflation back in that 2% range. And it's been tracking that way for a while, okay? But the Federal Reserve has not lowered interest rates, right, since their last time. And so a lot of you guys out there think that whenever the Fed comes in and lowers the Fed funds rate, it's a one-to-one correlation, meaning that mortgage rates in this context are going to come down.
Right. And
that's not necessarily the case. Okay. And so I want to let you guys know, though, that I really believe, and this is not me making a call, or because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow.
All right.
But because of the political environment and a lot of things that are going on, i.e. a lot of the job layoffs, more importantly, the GDP, right? The growth of the country. I think a change is coming, if not this year, next year. So said all that to say, rates are in the mid 6% range.
Yes, they are.
And depending on who your lender is, could be closer to 7. But for us, mid 6 range for well-qualified folks. But I really believe as soon as we crack that 6%
threshold.
Say again?
Threshold.
Yeah, 6% threshold, getting the 5s. Even 599 is a big thing. A lot of the inventory that's been talked about in Texas, San Antonio being one of the markets with a lot of new home construction. I think that inventory is going to be,
leaving.
You feel?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bent up demand.
I can already tell from 2023 maybe to now the I guess you could say the market's kind of leveling out, but I'm seeing more people buy or purchasing houses. And what I do on a day-to-day basis, we have a lot more loans closing than we did in 2023, 2025. So I agree. If the rates come down just a little bit more, I think it's going to be a big boom, especially here. And I think so in San Antonio. I think the inventory, we got a good amount of inventory now, but I think it's going to start leaving.
And it's kind of like dang if you do, dang if you don't with some of this stuff online. And what I mean by that is this: for a long period of time, the inventory was very low. you tell me, what would you say in your professional opinion is a market in which is a seller's market, meaning that it's low in inventories as it pertains to months of inventories? Do you kind of have an opinion on that?
I don't know, maybe like 3 months. I think 3 months is pretty it's pretty low if you just have up to 3 months of inventory.
And like you said, from 23 up until the first part of this year, it's been
3
like
months,
that. 3 months.
3 to 3.5, 3, 4 months. Yeah.
And these sellers been flexing.
Yeah. Man, they like, you gonna come up in here and pay what we told you to pay,
right?
Or you don't get the house,
right?
Because they had the upper hand. It was their market.
They had the upper hand, and now like San Antonio, Dallas is another market that they had a lot of construction. Those builders are catching up, building those homes, and now April of this year was the first time during the housing season when it really started that we had a positive number on inventory. And so a lot of you guys may have been seeing this, there's 500,000 more homes on the market, new homes. Well, that's a good thing for a buyer if you're well qualified and looking to buy.
That's true. More inventory, whether new or pre-existing, is good for a buyer because you have more opportunity, more chances to find a home. You often hear people say that home didn't leave the market until I wanted it. You know what I mean? So not only do you have more to pick from, but when it comes to maybe if you don't have the money to get in the house or repairs need to be fixed, you can be a little bit more pickier or a little bit more picky when you have more inventory.
I like pickier.
You'll be a little bit more pickier.
You're probably right, it's picky. Hey, real quick, if you're hopping on and you're watching, feel free to comment. Let us know what market, if you will. If you don't want to get too granular, trust me, I ain't the police.
Right.
But if you want to let us know what state you're watching from, let us know. But again, this is something that we're going to do hopefully every other Sunday. We call it Houses and Hoodies. Real casual conversation, and we're breaking down what we're seeing in the housing market as it pertains to the real estate, the actual buying side with the realtor, as well as the loan side as far as the lender is concerned. So feel free to comment. But to your point, Kay, on what you were just saying as far as the inventory and things of that nature is concerned, what say you to potential buyers out there now that they're hearing, hey, there's all this new inventory in certain markets, specifically new. And I want to hit on that point, new construction. Should they be looking for drastic 20, 30, 40% discounts in prices? Or how should a buyer interpret that increase of homes coming on, going from a seller's market to a buyer market? What way should they be looking to benefit from that increase of inventory? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So with new construction, builders are not going to say the home's listed for $400,000. They're not going to drop the sales price down to $350,000 because they're protecting themselves and they're protecting the equity of the home and also the neighborhood, which is important when you move somewhere because of your exit strategy. So if the home is appraising for $400,000, you don't want it to be dropped down to $350,000 because then when you go to leave, then you would sell it for a lower price.
Right.
So as a buyer, how you can benefit if you're someone, like I said, who doesn't have the liquidity to get in the home or the cash to get in the home up front, the incentives they're offering to say they give you $10,000 to get in the home, you can use that for the closing costs. You can use that to buy your rate down, whatever you need to get you over that hump to get into the house. That's how the builders are going to help you. They're not going to drop the price down. They're just trying to help you get into the property with wherever your weak point may be. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I see a lot with my clients that are challenge liquid. They got money problems. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna say problems, but you don't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So here's the old adage for you youngsters. Cash is king.
For sure.
Cash has always been king. But when it comes to home purchases and things of this nature, we are blessed here in these United States to be able to leverage
for 30 years.
For 30 years, right?
For sure.
And that's a blessing. I don't care what Dave said, and I'm a Dave Ramsey fan to a certain point, but this allows a lot of people to get on to the property ladder. I digress. Here's my point with that. Because you don't have a lot of cash, nothing's free.
Right.
And so a lot of these incentives that the builder is giving you, they've increased the purchase price.
Yes, because they still have to win. They've built the property.
They're gonna win. They're gonna make a profit.
Yeah.
And if you want to have that competitive advantage, build your own house.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that disrespectful or tongue in cheek, but younger folks here in America, we have to get out of this mindset that folks don't make a profit.
Yeah.
That's you can. You're able to make a profit. Yeah. Now, from that being said, from an advocate for you, say like if we were your team, we know how to help translate these numbers for you in your specific situation. So back to, I don't have a lot of cash, right?
Yeah.
Say in the market that you're in, right? The average purchase price $300,000. Right?
Like pushing maybe 350.
350.
Yeah.
But also in your other job, you deal in other markets.
I do, yes.
Right? Where the average purchase price might be what?
Like 150, definitely under 250.
It's a different game.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say location. So back to your market, right? And so you might see the median purchase price in San Antonio. It might be what? When you looked, did you not look today?
Yeah. So say they have a number for all homes, new and pre-existing.
Right.
The median number is like 315.
Okay, 315 is the median, right? But what's the average?
It's we'll call it 380.
380, right? So 315, 380, that delta there, depending on who you are in your specific situation, and if you want to go new, you can't expect to get that difference in discount.
No.
What you may be able to expect is that the builder that's controlling the home, and because of the way some of the new lending laws have been written, because most builders have their own lender, they own 50% of a lending company, they might come in and say, hey, we're going to give you an incentive. We're going to give you thousands of dollars to buy the rate down so you can have a more affordable home loan. But to your point, just like that builder or you as a homeowner competing against the builder, you don't want them to sell a house for a lower amount
because it's going to affect you.
Well, the builder is going to always have an established amount, because that sale is going to establish either the next sale at that amount or higher.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it is what it is. You can't change it. You have to understand. And the more money you have, the more power you have.
For sure.
Would you agree?
I agree. And then too, majority or a lot of the homes here, and I can't speak for other markets, but here in San Antonio, Texas, they are a bulk of the homes that we have are new construction. But there is also other pre-existing homes. Most pre-existing homes are for sale by owner, or they have an agent representing the person selling the home. You might be able to be a little bit more
aggressive.
Yes, and asking for more when it comes to pre-existing homes, because the seller is competing with the builder. And a lot of people want to buy new. They don't want to deal with it's pre-existing homes would come with problems and things you have to fix. When it comes to new construction, everything's new. Most people assume that there aren't going to be any problems. Now, we know that's not always true, but that's what the narrative is. So if you're someone who may be looking for a deal, or you do have a little bit more money to come in and fix up the house or get it to where you want it to be, you may look to go the pre-existing route, which isn't a bad route at all.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and then we'll move to the next point, because there's a lot of conversation about foreclosures.
Yeah.
We want to hit that. But just to sum up this intro, if you will, this intro topic, right? I would say this, and then you could add 3 points, right? Number one, new does not always mean no problems.
For sure.
Because in this environment, and let me give context, 2022 forward, the quality might not be the same as older homes or homes that were built before then. So again, you have to keep that in mind. But secondly, I get it. I've owned enough homes to where I understand new ain't it.
Yeah.
Right. But if you a new one, it's that new penny thing. Right. And so all I'm saying to you is, with that, understand, if you don't have a lot of cash, the way you're going to take advantage of the increase in inventory, and it's not 2008, 2013. I lived it. We're nowhere near there, but it's going to be in the form of seller concessions more times than not, unless you're buying a home that's already up. What is that called? When they're ready to, you're brand new and you before you can move into it, what does the builder have to get from the county or the city?
It's called a COO, the certificate of occupancy.
If that thing is sitting and it's got a certificate of occupancy, right, and it's towards the end of the year, then you might be able to get big seller concessions and a nice 10 to 15% decrease in the price of the home. Because if it's more than that, I would be leery myself to even buying in that neighborhood, because that might not be the right place. What's the 3 things you want to add on that? If I didn't take them all.
No, because you gave good ones. I don't know if I have 3, but the main one is there's a lot of talk going on everywhere on the internet. Everywhere you turn, that it seems to be bad news, but it's not bad. The housing market is where it is. It is what it is. You just have to see where you fit in. So if you're not exactly in the position or ready to buy now, or you want to do more research, do that. And if you feel like you're ready to jump on the housing ladder now, then do that. You know what I mean? But be prepared, because whether it's a buyer's market or whether it's a seller's market, you can still win, whether you're the buyer or the seller. That's all I got to say about that.
No, that's nice. It's about preparation.
Yeah.
Hey, for those of you that are watching, if you want us to comment on maybe your state where you are, again, I lend nationwide. You're an agent here in Texas focusing on San Antonio area.
Yeah.
But you have another position in which you deal in what? Pretty much, is it nationwide as well, or?
Yeah, minus a few states. A lot of the southern states, Kansas, Oklahoma, things like that. But I do see other. I don't practice in other markets, but I do see what's going on in other markets.
Right. But if you are in those other markets and you need help with being partnered with an agent that extrapolates the data like this and makes it plain, so that you can actually use it to make a decision, just reach out to us. There's a link in the description where you can schedule a consultation. Yep. Or if you're looking to move to the San Antonio area, don't hesitate to reach out. Moving forward, foreclosures. Mm-hmm. This is another if it bleeds, it leads type topic.
Yeah.
If I see another YouTube video where they're trying to take a number and make it seem bigger than what it is. Here's a challenge. If you guys don't believe me out there, Google, whatever your browser of choice is, whatever your large language model is, as far as ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, whoever you use, type in foreclosure data for the United States and get a historical view. Said all that to say this: where their foreclosure starts are up, but we're nowhere near actual foreclosures that have been either turned into real estate on REOs for sale or gone back to HUD or VA or wherever they are to be sold. We're not back to 2019 levels. So everything that we're saying, even what we're saying here today, take it with a grain of salt. Trust but verify. That's what I'm saying. You can't take everything that we're saying or anybody saying just at heart until we built that trust with you, right? And that takes time. But I said all that to say that foreclosure starts up. Here's the deal, and I'll let you have it. A start, they track those, starts with lates. Once somebody's over 90-day late, those are up. That's a trend, right? Not saying that we don't want to watch that, but again, it's not an actual foreclosure. And with FHA and VA and USDA, a lot of those government loans do a very good job with foreclosure mitigation or forbearance. That's what it is. The forbearance starts. So a lot of things that you're hearing online aren't going to really necessarily translate into a lot of supply coming onto the market, because economics 101, right? When there's a lot of supply, what usually happens?
The prices go down,
right? So this is what we're saying, guys. Look at the data, and if we had all of this supply like we had from 2008 to 2012, which was the trough, right? Then you would see prices what? Coming down.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? But a last part to that, you know what? Let me stop. Let me let you jump on that. Do you have anything you want to add as far as foreclosures are concerned?
Why do you think because you said foreclosure starts are up? That means people are coming into the process of why do you think that is? What's the problem there, in your opinion?
And it's just my opinion, and you could speak to this as well from your processing days, right?
Yeah.
Not that we're going to divulge anybody's personal information, but what are most people when it comes to their monthly budget?
In my opinion, I think they bought more house than they could really afford.
Well, not even the house. I'm saying the house aside.
Yeah.
There are other monthly expenditures.
They're overextended.
Overextended.
Yeah. And when I said they bought more house than they can really afford, because all the time, the PITI, the PITI, the principal and the interest, they're fixed, but the taxes and insurance are not. And they can go down, but more times than not, they don't. They go up. And so when people are already overextended in the day-to-day credit cards, student loans, car loans, things like that, and then your insurance goes up $15 a month, that's detrimental to a lot of people, and they're not able to make their payments.
So you helped answer your question.
That's what you think too.
Well, and let's be a little more granular for folks, because again, we're trying to help people.
Yeah.
Because are you an advocate for homeownership?
Yeah, for sure.
1,000%. So don't get it twisted, but we don't want you to have remorse.
And we want to put the right people in homes, because like he did for me, for the young people coming down the line, when we want to own homes, we want to come into a good market. And from the ones coming behind me, it's a trickle-down effect.
Yeah. So we're all in it together. Everybody's heard it, the proverbial, they messed it up for everybody else. So we want to keep the 30-year fixed mortgage, because no one in the whole other on the planet has that, guys. And you may not know that. But anyway, I digress. Here's the point that I wanted to say. Let's get granular, right?
Yeah.
When we look at credit reports, what type of accounts are we seeing that are on the rise?
Installment, or
the ones that where you could get DoorDash with now, and what are they called? Are the companies?
Like Klarna.
Okay. Buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
So we're seeing more buy now, pay later accounts, right? And what you guys don't know is this: the average user of those buy now, pay later accounts make less than $50,000 a year.
And creditors and lenders, they know this. They studied this. They know this.
Well, and really, a lot of people don't know that folks that make the least amount of money pay for everything.
Yes.
Right? So again, we're about generational wealth, but it really goes back to the budget. So we're starting to see more buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Right? So people are overextending.
Yes.
You don't have a budget.
Yes.
You're buying things that you can't afford.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons we're seeing foreclosure starts go up. Then you alluded to it in the PITI payment.
Yeah.
The PI is what?
Fixed.
But it's principal
and interest.
But what ain't fixed?
The taxes and the insurance.
Okay. And you know what? Let me pause. This is serious. Prayers and hearts, felt condolences to all of these folks.
The natural disaster.
That lost their lives during the 4th of July and flood. Life is short, guys.
Yeah.
And you could be here today, gone tomorrow. So we want to send our heartfelt condolences and prayers out to those that lost family members and, their lives.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot what was I going? That just kind of hit me.
But
the PITI, principal, interest.
Mm-hmm.
So taxes and insurance are not.
They're not
fixed. And so natural disasters and things of that nature that happen, those costs get spread out to everybody.
Yes.
So we've had a lot of those things happening over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Right. So guess what has gone up?
Insurance.
Your
taxes.
And taxes.
Yeah.
Right. Taxes in part because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Where there was a shortage of what? Houses.
Yeah.
Supply was what?
Low.
It was like a month. Guess what that did to prices?
Made them go up.
It drove it up.
Yeah,
right? So back to that supply and demand thing. So now when you got taxes up, insurance up, I just did a video on my channel talking about groceries, right? Everything is up.
Gas.
Right? And so this is why we're starting to see foreclosure starts happen. But what you don't see in a lot of folks, back to the FHA, VA, USDA, right? Let me look at the camera. If you find yourself in one of those situations, it's not a pride thing. Communicate early and often and reach out and get help, because there's forbearance programs that can help. But then let's switch it to sellers, right? Real quick. If you find yourself to where it's not going to work, right? Don't go down with the ship. Reach out to an agent so you can what?
Sell it.
Sell. Because guess who's out here swimming around? It starts with they call them wholesalers. I call them wholesalers, right? And it's not the Lord, y'all, but when you up at night stressing out at 2:00 in the morning, that video or that Facebook, it's a wholesaler pops up, right? Yeah. Well, a lot of you guys, if you purchased your house prior to 2022, you got a lot of what? Equity. So I took a rabbit trail. I'll come back, right? But my point is this. That's why we see foreclosure starts up. Okay. So now, how do we fix that in your opinion? How do we prevent somebody as best we can? Because you can't, we don't know from an underwriting standpoint, right? How many years back are we looking? 2 years. How many years forward are we looking?
3.
We're going to estimate 3 years, right? After that, then, anything could happen.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's looking to buy, right, and doesn't want to get into a foreclosure position, those people that are best prepared to weather that kind of storm, let's talk about that. What type of savings should they have, in your opinion?
At least like a certain number, or how many months? Because I was going to
let's go months.
Like half a year, 3 to 6 months.
The more the better, right?
Yeah, just in case, because you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's say somebody like you starting off, what's a good number?
I say 3 months.
3 months.
A season.
A season.
Yeah.
Right. 3 months, you should be able to, if you're handling everything else, you should be able to weather a storm and get another position or transition into something else, right?
Yes.
So 3 months. Other than that, if you're older, the more the better.
Yeah.
Right? Because life gonna what?
Happen.
Life gonna life.
Yeah, for sure.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, okay, that savings wise. Now, when it comes to approvals, right?
Yes.
And you know how I work, but everybody doesn't work like me, right? But I'm always gonna qualify you at your top what?
Amount.
Number.
What you, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then I always tell you to go 30% lower than that.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because when we're all buying, guess what we are?
Greedy.
When we all selling, guess what we are?
Greedy.
Everybody's greedy.
Yes.
Right? You got to lean on your professional to help you rein it in and help you try to see past that 36 months that nobody can see.
Right. And look at the things that you're not looking at because you're in the moment, or that you didn't even think to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, with all of that said, foreclosures are not, in my opinion, the opportunity that it was from 2008 to 2012, because we just don't have the sheer number of supply volume that's hitting the market. That's when all those great deals were, right?
Okay.
And everybody's trying to go back there because that's a narrative that's being spun by a lot of these online folks because they're making money selling ads.
Yeah.
And they need eyeballs and attention.
Yeah.
So here's the deal with foreclosures. And you know this, first Tuesday, every month here in Texas, to get a deal on a foreclosure, you got to be able to go down to the courthouse steps, right? And buy those foreclosures. And then in order to do that, guess what you got to have?
Money.
You got to have that manyan. What'd you say?
Manyan.
That manyan. Them dineros. What we gonna call it? Skrilla, manyan, feta, wop, cheese, cheddar, Wooda, all of that.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So all joking aside, guys, again, the best thing that you could do, if you do have the monies, hit that courthouse step.
Yeah.
Now, if you need help with financing, right, you got to get prepared. You need to hit K up. Okay? You need to hit K. You need to hit the professional that you know, like, and trust. Anything else you want to say on layoffs? Mm-hmm. I mean, not layoffs, but foreclosures. Right?
Yeah.
Now, layoffs. Keep it a buck. What you feel about that? A recent graduate.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was like, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience in the job market, but the little time I did applying to jobs and stuff, it was hard to even get an interview, get a call back. And the reason I think that's going on is because you have a lot of really experienced people who have the degrees and have worked in their fields for a really long time. And these layoffs may be happening, and they're having to take the entry-level positions, which were made for people like me who don't have any experience or coming out of college. And so we're having a hard time. We're staying at home a little bit longer. But I do believe there are still opportunities out here for people to go to work and do what they need to do to purchase a home if that's your desire.
Okay. Well,
now what do you think?
I think a lot, but I want to stick with the younger folks, right? Let me ask you another question. Is home ownership still a goal for you?
Well, yes.
Okay. Let's be tactical. Let's say we're talking 22 to 28-year-olds, right? If you could buy a home within that time frame, you really are above the curve, in my opinion. Let's give those folks out there a roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay. And on what they should be, some milestones that they should be trying to hit, right? So depending on wherever your local market is, right? You have a median purchase price. You said 350 here, right?
Yeah.
315. Well, 315, right? So you need to have 31.5 minimum. That's 10%, right? Would you agree?
I agree.
So before you go run out here and purchase a home, right? We want to see you guys 22 to 28 have a minimum of 10% of whatever that purchase price is.
Yes.
That's set away. That's designated for either getting into the home with the buying and closing costs. You're blessed if you get seller concessions and you get to keep some of that money, but that's money to get in the home and to maintain the home, that fund to maintain it after you get in. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. Credit wise, what do we need to look at? Because you just graduated, right?
Yeah.
A technological, a cybersecurity degree, a lot of layoffs, right? And then AI is playing a part, not from the standpoint of the tool, but here's the inside stuff that a lot of people don't look at. It takes a lot of energy, power to run those large language. I'm talking about electricity, water, cooling, and things of that nature. So what a lot of people haven't put in perspective, these companies, Microsoft, you heard they laid off a lot of people. Well, they got a lot of investment in AI. And so that's a lot of money to power that. See, so now they're consolidating. More people are having to do more. So it's going to come back around. That's why you're working on those other skills. Perfect segue, right? While you're waiting to get into the home, right? You got your money saved, right? Credit wise, what kind of credit scores do we need to have?
At least like a 620. At least.
That's you a 620?
I'm being generous.
I'm talking about keep it a buck. I'm talking about well-qualified people. We telling them 620?
Like, no.
Like come on. Tell the people the truth. She's trying to be nice to you.
I was. Like 680, 700.
And that's low.
Yeah.
Right? What you rocking with? Not to put you on black, give a range.
It's like 720, 740 around there.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you're staying at home, right, and things of that nature, you have to watch what kind of group?
Lifestyle.
You see what I'm saying? You got the opportunity to stack your ends.
Yeah.
So you just said it. They got a lot of what out here? Opportunity.
They do.
So now's the time for all of us, right? Because AI is being pitted as the devil.
Yeah.
It's just a tool.
Yeah.
But what it's doing is it's causing folks like me, long in the tooth, right? It's causing everybody to do the one thing that most people hate doing.
Selling.
No, change.
Oh.
Right?
That's another thing people.
A lot of people hate selling.
But
that's where the money resides.
Yeah.
But to relate to a lot of folks is change.
Yeah.
Who likes to change? And so in this new environment they're in, there's a lot of change.
Yeah.
But in your case particularly, there's a lot of cost with running this AI.
It is.
So there's a lot of consolidation.
It is.
So the opportunity is for those 10%. Make sure your credit is good, right? Yeah. What that looks like, ladies and gentlemen, is this: 2 to 3 trade lines, right? That have been aged open for 12 months, right? That's on the low end, but really 2 years. 24 months or more. How many lates?
None.
Well, how do you make sure you don't never have no lates?
You don't spend.
You're a Gen Zer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you make sure Gen Z you don't have any lates?
You don't spend more than what you pay for, than what you have.
What they call that?
What they call what?
How do you know what you have?
Your money. What's in your bank account?
Okay. What else do you do to make sure you know what you have and what's coming in and going? What is it?
A budget.
A budget.
Yeah.
Y'all, she know the answer to this. She's trying to play brand new.
I was like, huh?
It's your budget.
Yeah.
Right? How often do you look at your budget?
Weekly.
Yeah. You look at your budget weekly?
Yes.
You have to.
How
often do you pay your bills?
Weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah.
So, do you have a credit card?
Yes, I do.
What's the purpose of a credit card?
Safety and convenience, because you don't want to use your debit card because that's directly tied to your money, what you have.
So what you telling me is, if you create a budget, which is nothing more than knowing what you got
coming in
and what you got
going out,
and you look at how often? Weekly.
Yeah.
And then whenever you put something on your credit card, when do you pay it?
That week or that day, whenever you pay it off.
Because you use it for safety and convenience.
Yeah.
So you only put on your credit card what you have
and money.
What if you feel like you got it?
You can't buy it. Y'all.
What if you think you're gonna make it?
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Right? So this is how you're gonna be prepared for when the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know you don't believe it, but because you're working out of college, right? It's just not in the field
that I went for.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we got to get a little more experience.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
Yeah.
But you've had experience before that open door, and it's making you right in on a starting salary with most people. You feel what I'm saying? And you're taking an opportunity. You're also a real estate agent and other things. So young folks, what I'm saying to you is listen to the old man. A lot of opportunity out here.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the doom and gloomers, right?
Yeah.
And those of you that have an ear that can hear, right? Problems equals money. Opportunity. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't know how we got on that, but that's the layoff segment,
right? That's how we were talking about jobs.
Yeah, jobs. They're very important.
Yeah, you need
right. They're out here, especially if you want to have real estate.
Yeah.
But then we also covered too, once you get into the house, how to keep the house.
Right.
Right. Live beneath your means. Watch the lifestyle creep, and you gotta have that B word.
A budget.
Budget. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, she don't like it either. But does it work?
It does.
It worked. The budget works. The budget works. So, did you hit them with the median sales prices?
Yes, we talked about 315 here in San Antonio.
Okay, 315.
San Antonio, yeah.
Okay. And inventory wise, there's more. Is there more new homes than existing?
Yeah, the number I found online, it's about like a little over 10,000 homes for sale in San Antonio, Texas, and a little bit over half of them are new construction, and then the rest are pre-existing. So, take that how you want it. If you're a seller or a buyer, there's opportunity out here. The amount of homes that we have on the market as of right now, it does look like a buyer's market, which just means that as a buyer, you have a little bit more power over who's selling. So when it comes to negotiating and things like that, as we touched on earlier, you may be able to ask for more to actually get you in the house.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So as we get ready to wrap up, because you're more of a buyer's agent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's help the buyers out there. Let's give them some takeaways. We'll try to come up with 3 to 5. But okay, I understand that there's more inventory as a buyer.
Yeah.
We're gonna assume I'm well qualified, 740 plus middle score, been gainfully employed for 2+ years.
Yeah.
Or I've been in a business for 2+ years.
Yeah.
With verifiable tax returns that have been filed.
Yes. Or you've been in school and you provide your transcript and got a job, because you also can buy like that too. That
part.
Yeah.
So we're assuming that, right? And it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Let's break it down this way. I don't have a lot of money because I just got out of school. But I just got a job.
Yeah.
Right. And I like these news. Right. What should they be expecting their real estate partner to negotiate for them, in your opinion? Let's give them just one thing at a time.
Closing costs, or some actual like cash. So you could use it for your down payment and closing costs if you're low on cash.
Gotcha.
I think that's one of those things. And then also survey, because here in Texas you have to have a survey. And then when you're dealing with a title company, you have a title policy. So I think at bare minimum, the survey and the title policy should be handled by the seller. Whether their survey is pre-existing or they have to get a new one, I think they should pay that fee.
So that's 3.
Yeah.
Slow down. That's 3.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Because when you say closing costs, I want to slow you down a little bit. What are closing costs? What are some of the things that go into one's closing costs?
Like your appraisal.
How much does an appraisal cost roughly?
Here, probably like $800.
Okay. I'm trying to quantify, because a lot of times people just holler closing costs, and for the layperson that doesn't know, it sounds like it's just this stuff. This is money.
Yeah.
So appraisal is roughly $800.
Yeah, we'll call it $800.
What other fees come with closing costs?
if you don't get the survey handled by the seller, those can be like $400 to $500.
Well,
or more.
Yeah, I think 8 to 1,500, depending on where you are.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
for the survey too.
You talking about them $150,000 homes you be looking at?
And yeah.
We talking about here.
Yeah. So
okay.
You got, I said, survey appraisal. When it comes to like your with working with the lender, you got the lender fees, the lender processing fees, whatever that is. That's usually like a set fee. And then like when they pull your credit report, any verifications of employments, if that's coming from like a third party, like the work number or Experian, that you're charged that's included in your closing costs. And then if you use a title company, all of their fees is included in the closing cost as well. Am I missing anything?
No, that's it. So reason I said that is, right, watch this. If the purchase price is $315,000, right, typically just to get into a home, if the seller's not paying for anything, this is why we come up with these numbers. We say 10%.
Yeah.
Right. But we say 6%, right? It's going to take you to get into a house. 6%, right? So out of that 3% of that should cover your closing costs. So 3 times 3 is 9. Right? So that's $9,500 you got to have on that $315 house, right? Just for your closing costs. So said that to say, guys, closing costs are very important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we've seen agents that don't get the title policy in the survey.
Yeah.
Right? Those are just minimum. You should get those.
Yeah.
Right? And just to give you a percentage, okay, assuming if you're a new home buyer, right, FHA will allow you to get up to 6%.
Solid concession
of the purchase price.
Yeah.
That's $18,000.
Yeah.
Right? And they doing it. You feel me?
Yeah.
You just got to have the right person and to ask.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going conventional, home ready, home possible, they'll allow you to put as little as 3% down.
Yes.
But you can only get 3%.
Yes.
Right? At that loan to value. Right? But that's still money.
Yeah.
So all these things go into play. So you said title policy survey, seller concessions. That's big.
Yes.
Right? Now, a spillover to that as well is that's why you got to have some of your money, because the other 3% of that 6% that I talked about goes towards your
down payment.
Your down payment and prepaid items.
Yeah.
Which are bulked into the closing costs.
Yeah.
But they're not closing costs.
Right.
Those are the monies for your
escrow,
taxes,
and
insurance that you got to pay for up front.
Yeah.
So these are all the things. I'm going slow because I'm tired of hearing these folks on TikTok saying nobody told me. Nobody told me. We telling you.
Yeah.
Granularly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's documented.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And I'll add to what you said. Choose as far as what you should be getting from a seller, right? Seller concessions are concerned. If you are in a house that you have to sell, we just had this, ask for a lease back so you don't have to move so quickly, right? Lease back, okay? And you can have time to move out of your house, and folks are doing that now, right? So these are some things that don't get spoken about a lot, but savvy or experienced realtors know about, right?
Yes.
And then I would say, what's one of the last things? You know what? I'll just leave it there. We don't want to give them all the juice. We're gonna let you show them some of the things that they should be getting, because membership got its privileges.
Yeah.
You gotta be a member. Y'all hit that link, schedule a consultation.
Yes.
Because all of this starts with a what?
A call.
A conversation and a call. And it's free to call, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just too much to hit.
At one
over
time.
the air.
Yeah. And it's so broad, we can't tailor it to your situation, because every single person, no matter how much you think you're similar to somebody else, everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you think we hit them?
I think we did.
Girl, we almost been talking about houses and hoodies.
Houses and hoodies.
I like the way that roll. Houses and hoodies. You feel?
Yeah.
Just on a Sunday, we relaxing.
Yeah.
And maxing. Hopefully y'all doing well.
I hope so too.
And we appreciate your time.
Yes. Thank you for coming and listening to us yap about houses. Yeah. The thing we like to talk about. Yeah. We talk about houses off camera too, y'all. We don't just do it on camera.
Houses are important.
Yeah, we talk about houses a lot.
Yeah. Get you one and you'll see what we talk about. Yeah. So with that, Robert.
Okay.
Houses and hoodies. Y'all be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. All joking aside, enjoy your family.
Yes.
Life is short, man. Love on them hard. And Lord willing, we'll see you guys the next time. Peace. Mm-hmm. How we get off this thing?
Hit end.
Oh, okay, hit end. I'm on.